This is the movie report at CinemaCon, written by Michael DeKeenan.
The third day of events at CinemaCon 2023 began with a characteristically stripped-down presentation by the Walt Disney Studios. It was even more so than usual this year because the bulk of their block was devoted to a complete screening of 20th Century Studios' Stephen King horror adaptation, The Boogeyman, which, as part of an increasingly common strategy, was shifted from a streaming-only release to a theatrical one. Before the screening, though, there was an abbreviated rundown of upcoming releases. In a rare in-person talent appearance at the Disney presentation, Melissa McCarthy introduced a look at her full performance of the iconic Disney villain song Poor Unfortunate Souls, from the upcoming live-action adaptation of The Little Mermaid. The rest of the featured film slate was represented by clips of various lengths. From Marvel Studios, a new clip was shown from the trilogy Capper Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A trailer for The Marvels, a team-up film uniting two Captain Marvels and Miss Marvel, was also shown. From Disney Animation Studios, the central I Want song from Wish, a fantasy that celebrates the entire history and legacy of the animation studio, was screened in its entirety. The second film adaptation of the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland, this time starring Lakeith Stanfield, Tiffany Haddish, Rosario Dawson, and Owen Wilson, had its trailer premiered. The first 20 minutes of the latest Pixar Animation Studios production, the literally fire and water romantic comedy Elemental, were screened in 3D. More adult-minded fare also got their moment in the spotlight. From Searchlight Pictures, the first trailer was shown for Taika Waititi's long-delayed fact-based underdog soccer comedy Next Goal Wins, starring Michael Fassbender. Also getting a teaser trailer premieres were two 20th Century Studios releases: Kenneth Branagh's third ensemble, Agatha Christie mystery adaptation, the supernatural-tinged A Haunting in Venice, also starring Michelle Yeoh, and the intriguing science fiction action thriller The Creator, from director Gareth Edwards and starring John David Washington and Gemma Chan. The last title featured before the Boogeyman screening was Harrison Ford's fifth go-round as adventurous archaeologist Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. A big chase sequence was shown from James Mangold's film, which also stars Phoebe Waller-Bridge. After an extended lunch break, action resumed at the Coliseum with the program by Universal Pictures. Rather disappointingly, the inspired angle the studio used the previous 2 years, pairing film talent with actual movie theater employees for each on-stage segment, was abandoned completely. Perhaps this can be taken as another sign of things being fully back to normal, but it was nice to see the unsung heroes of the exhibition industry who helped make those stars share the spotlight alongside them. Instead, in a very Hollywood move, Universal upped the glitz with a Warner Brothers-level lineup of talent and Paramount-type showmanship. While none of the luminaries who fill out the cast of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, about the creation of the atomic bomb, joined the director on stage, an extended montage piece that he introduced featured plenty of them. President of Illumination, Chris Meledandri, next appeared on stage to extend his thanks for the success of March's record-breaking release of their video game adaptation, the Super Mario Bros. Movie. He then introduced the trailer for their next animated feature, Migration, in which Kumail Nanjiani and Elizabeth Banks voice a married couple of ducks who take their family on an eventful winter getaway. Family fare led to family unfriendly fare when Will Ferrell took to the stage with the dog he voices in the live-action comedy Strays. While the film, which follows a group of stray dogs who go on a road adventure, looks cute and cuddly on the surface, the mission of revenge that motivates it, not to mention the profanity-laden dialogue traded by Ferrell and voice co-star Jamie Foxx and others, is distinctly R-rated. Following the financial success of their revisionist Halloween sequel trilogy, director David Gordon Green and producer Jason Blum take on another venerable horror series with The Exorcist, Believer. They introduced the very first footage ever shown of the film, which stars Leslie Odom Jr. and, in her first appearance in an Exorcist sequel, original star Ellen Burstyn. The tone then whiplashed back with a passage centered on the next films from DreamWorks Animation. A trailer for the summer adventure Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, starring the voices of Lana Condor and Jane Fonda, was shown without any stars on hand. Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake introduced a partly unfinished trailer for the third installment of the musical comedy Trolls series, Trolls Band Together, whose premise, makes tongue-in-cheek reference to Timberlake's boy band beginnings. No footage was available for another upcoming sequel, Kung Fu Panda 4. But that was no problem when star Jack Black, ever animated himself, was on stage doing a one-man reenactment of the story of the next entry in the martial arts comedy franchise. Then came a sidebar devoted to Universal's specialty division, Focus Features, which, like last year, had no stars introducing the footage. A new extended clip was shown for Wes Anderson's latest hyper-designed all-star comedy, Asteroid City. Trailers were premiered for a trio of titles. The comedy sequel, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, which finally takes star, writer, and now director Nia Vardalos on a trip to her homeland. The Holdovers, a 1970s period piece that reunites the sideways pair of star Paul Giamatti and director Alexander Payne. And Drive Away Dolls, a crime caper from director Ethan Coen. It was back to blockbuster territory for the final 3 films. Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Sung Kang, and Tyrese Gibson gave a verbal recap of the now 2-decade-plus-old The Fast and the Furious series before the series star and producer, Vin Diesel, went rogue and gave a long, off-the-cuff speech praising theaters. He also announced the 11th Fast film would be released in 2025 before an extended look at the 10th film was shown. A very elaborate live stunt demonstration featuring fights, falls, motorcycles, trucks, weapons, explosions, and t-shirt guns preceded an extended first footage look at The Fall Guy, the next film directed by the 87 North Action Design and Production Company's co-founder, David Leitch. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, the stars of this very loose adaptation of the 1980s television series about a stuntman, joined Leitch for the presentation. Closing out the presentation was a very early look at one of the studio's most anticipated projects, the 2-film adaptation of the wildly popular Wizard of Oz prequel stage musical Wicked. No finished shots, let alone scenes, were shown, but instead a lot of EPK-style B-roll footage of the still-in-progress shoot featuring a lot of green, as in screen, not just the skin of Cynthia Erivo, who stars as future Wicked Witch Elphaba, alongside Ariana Grande as best friend and future nemesis Glinda. But even in this very preliminary look, the extravagant detail of the sets, costumes, and makeup, not to mention the spectacular dance and strong, if only briefly heard vocals, shone through. Immediately following was a prelude of sorts for tomorrow's Paramount presentation, an outdoor party themed to one of their summer sequels, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Full-size replicas of Optimus Prime, Optimus Primal, and Mirage were on display. And, in keeping with the film's 1990s timeframe, 90s cover band Empire Records performed a live, all-genres-spanning set of hits from that decade. For film reviews and more, please visit TheMovieReport.com. Also follow me at 2Trey23 on Instagram and at 2Trey23 on Twitter.